Hi everybody, this video is going to show you all about QR codes, what they are, where you can find them, how we would use them as practitioners and also with our learners. So what is a QR code? What does it look like? What am I on about? QR code looks like that. You can use it to access links on the internet. Now, if you can use it to access links to the internet, why not use a URL? You might be thinking. Well, they have two different purposes. A QR code is when you want to take something from the real life, so from this piece of paper, onto your phone or a tablet. Whereas a URL would be used to take something that's already digital, so an email, for example, might have a link in it, or a website might have a link on it, and you want to link that to another page. So from taking digital to digital, whereas a QR code can be used in the real life to take this onto digital. You can obviously still use a URL on a piece of paper, but the problem with doing that is that sometimes when people, because you then have to type it in, you might accidentally get things wrong. You might miss a slash out, something like that. Even just missing one dot out can mean you don't access the page that you want to, and it's quite time consuming. So QR codes are a lot more convenient because it's straight away, it's really quick. In fact, I'm going to show you how to use one right now. So this is a QR code on a Twitter task that I like to use in events. And this QR code links to a Wakelet. A Wakelet is a collection of tweets and videos and things like that. So the way that I would do it is to go on my phone. And new phones, you can do this, lots of new phones from the past few years already have it inbuilt, so you can access it just by going through to your camera. So I'm going to click on camera, and I'm going to, sorry, I'm doing this backwards, I'm going to swap hands. Okay, so there's your QR code. I'm going to see, I'm just trying to find there it is. And once it's scanned it in, you can see just up there, it's just come up with the link automatically. And if I click on that, I can open it. And now it's going to load it. Okay, there we go. So you can see that it's loaded the Wakelet straight away. Okay. That took me a few moments to do that because I was trying to do it behind the camera and watching myself on webcam, but in real life it takes seconds to do. Now that's on newer phones, it's already inbuilt on the camera, but on older smartphones you can download apps for free quite easily. So just go to your app store or whatever the application store is on your phone and just click in QR code scanner or reader, and you can do it really easily and for free, and it does the same kind of thing. So you'd click on the app, you'd scan the QR code and it would come up with the link, click on it and away you go. So that's how you would access a QR code on your phone. What would be the point for QR codes? Why would you use them? Well, you can use them to, in the classroom, you could use them to access tasks. For example, one of our professional exchange groups made a revision workbook. And in that revision workbook, which was a paper copy, they had QR codes which accessed different resources. So it allowed students to independently access further reading if they wanted to for specific things. You could use them, for example, in a classroom. In my own classroom, I've used this in an ESOL classroom. I made a display where my students had pictures of themselves, and it was used as an introductory wall, and next to their own photos they had QR codes, and the QR codes then led to audio snippets which I stored on Dropbox, and those audio snippets were them introducing themselves. So people could scan them on their phone and they could hear the students introducing themselves. So it just made the displays a little bit more interactive than just staying still on the wall. So there's two ways you could use it with students. You could also use it with peers. So we have an OTLA digital group from last year that decided to use it on the staff room wall, and they had numerous QR codes underneath different types of tech, and it allowed peers to come up and think, oh, maybe I will try Wakelet. Wakelet I've already mentioned in the video previously. Maybe I will try Wakelet, but I don't know anything about it. And they would use their phone, scan the QR code, and it would lead directly to a resource, whether that's a video, it could have been a YouTube video, it could have been a link straight to Wakelet, it could have been a link to how to use Wakelet, that kind of thing. And it would go straight to there so they could access it and just have it on their phone or their tablet. So there are a few different ways of how you can use QR codes. But now I'm going to talk to you about how you would actually go about creating a QR code. You can do it one of two ways. Many websites, Wakelet, I know when you create a Wakelet and you click share, it will either come up with a URL or it might come up with share on social media. So it will have the usual little pictures of Facebook, Google, Twitter, that kind of thing. But next to it, it also has a QR code. So it's already generated for you. The same with Padlet and lots of other websites. So depending on what you're creating, you might already have, when you click the share button, which usually looks like a little arrow, a little kind of like swished arrow, that if you click that, there's different options to share. And these days, because QR codes are becoming more and more popular, QR codes might already be generated. However, you might have a resource or created something that doesn't have a QR code attached to it. How do you share that with your students or with your peers? You can do so quite easily and for free. That's the magic word. If you go onto Google and just search for a QR code generator, you can get a QR code generator for free. If you go onto a QR code generator, click on one of the websites that have them. There's quite a few different websites. Different people prefer different websites for them. Have a little play around. Click on one of those, input the URL that you would like to create a QR code for, and it will create one. You either screen capture it or you can save it as an image, and there you go. Once you've done that though, I would highly recommend that you change the name of the QR code that you've saved as a JPEG or any kind of file. Change the file name to the actual website or resource that it leads to, because otherwise you will have lots of QR codes on your drive, on your computer, and you might not know where they lead to. So it's just nice and easy to for file storage. Just change the name of it. Okay, so I've told you why you would use QR codes, where you find them, how you would go about doing it. The last thing I really would like to say is things to consider before you go using QR codes. First of all is really think about whether you need a URL or a QR code. Do you just need a link? Is that easier? Do you want your students to type it in? Can you use a shortener, a tiny URL maker? You can find them on Google as well. Or is there a purpose for you to have that QR code? Are you using it just for snazzy reasons, or is there a reason? Secondly, does everyone have access to a phone? If you're using this in a classroom, does everyone have access to a phone? And by access, I don't necessarily mean that every single student needs to have a phone. Do they need to have a phone? Can they do it in pairs? That kind of thing. So there's two considerations for you to use with QR codes. So I fully recommend that you just go and have a play with QR codes, see if they work for you. Not every tech works for every person. See if they work for you and let us know. Thanks for listening.